Can you bet on pro wrestling? Yes. Should you bet on pro wrestling? No. Let me talk about this. So, to bet on pro wrestling, it's fairly easy. It's usually just WWE because they're the biggest thing. Here's an example from Sky Bet of things you can bet on in WWE. I've looked into doing this before. I pulled the trigger once or twice. Kind of regretted it. Why did I regret it? Because pro wrestling, unlike other sports, is predetermined. You would think that would maybe make it easier to bet on. It's not. Why? Well, if we're just talking about WWE, it's because of one man, Vince McMahon, who oftentimes changes his mind on the outcomes of matches frequently. There was a short period, I'd say in about 2018, where the betting odds were always very accurate. It was likely someone was leaking information from WWE. However, quickly after that, that was quashed, and again, just betting odds are just all over the place. Yes, you can maybe predict things for the most part. Like, you can kind of tell right now, Roman Reigns is going to hold the WWE, the Universal title, for ages, bar injury or something like that. So he's going to hold on to that. Like, if there was a bet on his match with Finn Balor next week, the odds are going to be drastically in Roman Reigns' favour. Maybe you could put some money on Finn Balor, you'd make a huge return, but Vince McMahon isn't going to take that belt off Roman Reigns unless he absolutely has to. So you're not really worth betting. I don't know what the odds on that would be, but let's say you bet £10 sterling, your return would probably be less than £1. It's not worth it. For that, you would probably just put £10 on a soccer match. You would be better off doing that. Again, you can't predict with betting, and I'm not here to encourage betting, to each their own. I'm not going to judge you either way, but I'm not going to encourage you to do it. You shouldn't bet on wrestling. Like, again, do what you please, but personally, I would say if you're going to bet on something, bet on a sport where, again, there is unpredictability, but it's not based off almost entirely one man's whims. If you want to bet on a combat sport, put it on boxing, put it on MMA, kickboxing. One, you'd probably have more fun doing that. Again, this isn't me encouraging you to bet, but like, you would have to, I don't know how most people bet. Like, the few times I did it, I was like, yeah, whatever, man, because I only ever betted small amounts. But you'd maybe, have more fun doing the research and be like, oh, okay, I think this team is going to win this match because XYZ, and you've looked into it before you play something, because that's what I would recommend. Like, gambling's a serious thing. Do research if you are going to. I do not recommend you do. But if you do your research. When it comes to wrestling, WWE in particular, because at least in the UK, that's the only thing you can really bet on in wrestling, you're really down to Vince McMahon's whims, and I just don't think that's a good bet to take. Like, if you were going to do your research, you would think, okay, you've got this person in their hometown, it's a title match. Logically, one would think, okay, this person's going to pick up or retain their title in their hometown. But that doesn't happen in WWE. Like, they never win in their hometowns, and that's not logical. And maybe you could bet against the logic and be like, okay, I know Vince McMahon isn't going to let them win, but I'm saying that's the general rule, but also they do win sometimes. Or it's a DQ. Who wins when you bet on that? There's always these little considerations you need to make. So, can you bet on pro wrestling? Yes. Should you bet on pro wrestling? No. I probably don't encourage you to bet either way. Invest that money in something. Check out my Robinhood. No, I don't have Robinhood. I don't have a sponsorship for this. But yeah, don't bet on wrestling, but watch some great wrestling. Remember to like, subscribe, share the video with a friend. I did my outro earlier. Watch some great wrestling.